We speak to professionals every day about their struggles as they work through some of the most complicated and emotionally taxing investigations. We know too well the issues that surround the work of child crimes professionals and what they need in order to experience success. Many child crimes professionals feel alone, unsupported, and as if they are in the dark about what they should be focusing on in order to achieve success and bring justice to those who need it the most. The frustration they feel in this work is intense, and at times so frustrating that these well-intentioned professionals would rather give up than to continue to exacerbate themselves in what feels like a never-ending spiral towards failure. This is where we, at the National Crimes Against Children Investigators Association, can step in to help. Our training programs and professional support networks have proven invaluable to those who fight for children every day. And now we will pull back the curtain and give you a glimpse into the methodology that we teach, so that you can understand better how child crimes professionals can experience success in building a rock-solid investigation.
To create a complete and comprehensive investigative picture, we teach a research-backed methodology that can be broken down into 3 areas that investigators should understand in order to build a nuanced and comprehensive picture in their investigative work. It is important to understand that this methodology can be applied by police officers or child protection workers, even though the avenues they might take to accomplish their mission may be quite different. In order to develop a solid case investigation, investigators should understand these 3 areas completely. Again, regardless of whether or not you are a police officer or a child protection worker, you must understand the principles surrounding how to conduct an effective corroboration-based investigation. Additionally, you need to understand some basic information on behavioral analysis and risk assessment profiling. And you need to have a basic level of understanding regarding statement analysis tools so that you can understand better how to interpret the things that are being told to you by the people you are interacting with during your investigation. The first concept we teach to help you understand how to build an effective corroboration-based investigation is a concept called micro-segmentation. This is the practice of taking information that is provided to you by victims, witnesses, and alleged perpetrators, and cutting it up into tiny segments that you can then attempt to prove and anchor into reality in some way. This is the fundamental principle of corroboration. We often will say, "It doesn't matter if they tell you the sky is blue. You still need to walk outside and look up to see for yourself." Next, we teach a principle called scaffolding. This is where we take each individual micro-segment of information we obtain, and we attempt to corroborate it or prove it using as many layers of proof as we can. This often will require some very outside-of-the-box methods of corroboration that most investigators are not used to considering during their investigative work. We will teach you how to structure your thinking in order to come by these methods naturally during your investigation. We will teach you how to develop information through the use of records you can lawfully obtain during your work, in order to anchor specific pieces of your investigation into reality, places, or moments in time. Timelines and locations are always of significant consequence in these investigations, and we will teach you how to develop impenetrable timelines to support your findings. Finally, we will teach you how to structure your interviews with victims, witnesses, and alleged perpetrators in a way that will allow you to corroborate your case while showing empathy and building levels of trust with everyone you speak to during your investigation. This interviewing methodology is heavily supported by scientific research, and it is very unlikely to be successfully attacked in a courtroom if applied properly. Additionally, it is empathy and evidence-based, and it will help you experience success legitimately in every interaction you have during your investigation.
Now on to behavioral analysis and risk profiling. There are tools that have been developed by the academic and psychological communities to help in identifying if there are factors present in any given case that are consistent with child abuse, domestic violence, and a host of other issues that we should be looking for during our casework. Some of these tools aim to assess the dynamics within the home that might indicate a higher likelihood that abuse is present. It is important to note here that just because certain factors might be present, this should not be used as proof alone, and that these tools should always be used in conjunction with good corroboration-based investigative work as well. Additionally, we teach how to assess victims for behavioral markers that could be indicative that they have experienced abuse and trauma previously. These tools we use for these assessments are very comprehensive in evaluating these behaviors, while also considering the normal sexual and cognitive development of the child as well. We also teach investigators how to assess alleged offenders for their sociological and psychological propensity factors that might be present. These factors often find their roots in some way in their childhood and can help professionals tremendously in evaluating the complete picture of the behaviors displayed by the alleged offender. In addition to propensity, we teach investigators how to look for precipitating factors, such as environmental or catalytic stressors that may contribute to offending behaviors and would be relevant to offer as proof of mental culpability or motive for the abuse.
Finally, let's discuss our statement analysis considerations for these investigations. This methodology, again, has been very heavily researched by the academic community going back to 1905, and these tools will help investigators correctly interpret the things they are told within the context of their investigation. One of these tools we teach is in criteria-based content analysis and reality monitoring tools. This method is applied by investigators to the statements made by children during a forensic interview, and it allows investigators to better understand if the statements made by the children are being truthfully given and about a real experience they had. Armed with this knowledge, investigators can feel more confident about investing the time and effort necessary into building a robust case file. Additionally, we have developed our own statement analysis tools called the Statement Falsification Assessment Tool and the Statement Reality Assessment Tool. These are an amalgamation of all of the known statement analysis tools that could be used in conjunction with one another to provide a very comprehensive picture of any information provided to an investigator. These tools can be used on any statement given, regardless if it is a victim, a witness, or an offender. If you are sitting there thinking that this all seems very complicated and perhaps too complex for most investigators, don't worry. We have broken down these concepts into some very easy-to-understand principles about deception and truth. For example, when we question someone about their involvement in a crime, we will typically encounter only two positions: either denial, which is the offender saying they didn't do it, or mitigation, which is the offender saying they did something, but it isn't as bad as you might think. We will show you how this simple approach can be very useful in understanding the language of those you speak to during your investigation. Additionally, there are other tools, such as the analysis of patterns of denial, created by Dr. Darrell Turner, that we advocate for the use of during your investigations, as these tools are very simple to understand and use, and they are clinically proven to help you correctly assess whether or not the person you are investigating is truly guilty of the crime they are being accused of committing. And this methodology is proven to be successful. While today, most of the investigators in the United States are only experiencing success in these investigations at a rate of about 6% of the time, we are committed to bringing you the information and tools you need in order to help propel you into the stratosphere with your investigative success.
Most investigations of this kind, just like people and their behaviors, are complicated, multifaceted, and dynamic in their very nature. Understanding this complexity, we have taken these tools and concepts and broken them down into simple-to-understand and simple-to-use methods that will make your life so much easier while building the confidence you have been seeking. You will be able to build a robust picture that forensic psychologists can use as expert witnesses in the courtroom that will allow them to see everything that they would otherwise not be able to access. This is a piece of the puzzle that you might not have thought about utilizing. And remember, the weight of the success of this case isn't all on you. You are a piece of a bigger picture. But we want you to take these tools to build a better picture for everyone else that looks at this case. That way, the best decisions can be made in the interests of child safety and justice. Because your actions don't just impact the success of this case in a courtroom, they also impact the success of this family, and ultimately, We are seeking a resolution that positively impacts the success of the children.
Thank you for everything that you do, and know that there are many others like you out there right now who are desperately seeking to create a new day for children also. Join us today and allow the National Crimes Against Children Investigators Association the opportunity to lend our experience and support to help you achieve success for yourself and these children.